Chasing people who don't choose us is one of the most painful and confusing emotional experiences, yet it's also incredibly common. It can feel irrational, even humiliating, to want someone who is inconsistent, distant, or clearly unwilling to fully commit. You might know, logically, that they aren't right for you, yet emotionally you feel pulled toward them. This isn't weakness or lack of self-respect. It's psychology. At the core of this pattern is the way the human brain responds to uncertainty. When someone gives us consistent affection, our nervous system feels calm and safe. But when affection is inconsistent, given sometimes and withheld at other times, the brain goes into overdrive. This unpredictability activates the reward system in a powerful way. Dopamine, the chemical associated with motivation and desire, spikes more intensely when rewards are uncertain. This is the same mechanism behind gambling addiction. You keep chasing not because you're enjoying the experience, but because you're hoping for the emotional payoff. Another deep reason we chase people who don't choose us is rooted in attachment styles. If you developed an anxious attachment early in life, love may feel closely tied to uncertainty. You may have learned, consciously or unconsciously, that closeness is unpredictable and must be earned. As a result, emotionally unavailable people feel familiar. Their distance triggers your attachment system, making you want them more, not less. Calm, secure love can feel boring or unearned because it doesn't activate the same emotional intensity. There is also a strong connection between chasing unavailable people and unresolved childhood experiences. If love or validation was inconsistent growing up, your brain may associate longing with connection. You may find yourself unconsciously trying to fix the past by finally being chosen by someone who withholds affection. In this way, the person you're chasing becomes symbolic. It's no longer just about them, it's about proving your worth, rewriting an old emotional story, and finally feeling enough. Ego also plays a powerful role. Being rejected or overlooked can create a psychological challenge. When someone doesn't choose us, it can feel like a threat to our self-image. Chasing them becomes a way to restore our sense of value. If we can make them choose us, it feels like proof that we are desirable, lovable, and worthy. This turns the connection into a goal rather than a mutual relationship, and love becomes something to win instead of something to share. Fear of abandonment is another major factor. For some people, the idea of letting go feels more painful than the reality of being partially loved. Letting go can feel like confirming the fear that they were never enough. Chasing keeps hope alive. As long as you're trying, the story isn't over. Hope can feel safer than acceptance, even when it hurts. There's also the illusion of potential. When someone doesn't fully choose you, it's easy to focus on who they could be rather than who they are. You hold on to moments of warmth, connection, or vulnerability and believe that if you just do one thing differently, they'll finally show up. This keeps you emotionally invested in a future that exists mostly in your imagination, not in their consistent behavior. Social conditioning plays a role too. Many stories, movies, and cultural narratives romanticize the idea of chasing love, enduring emotional hardship, and being rewarded in the end. Persistence is often framed as devotion. But in real life, healthy love doesn't require convincing, proving, or chasing. When these narratives shape expectations, it becomes harder to recognize when a dynamic is unhealthy. Chasing someone who doesn't choose you can also be a way to avoid your own vulnerability. Focusing on someone unavailable keeps you emotionally busy while protecting you from deeper intimacy. If you're always reaching for someone who can't fully meet you, you never have to risk being truly seen by someone who can. In this way, chasing can feel safer than receiving. Over time, this pattern can erode self-esteem. Each unanswered message, canceled plan, or emotional withdrawal reinforces the belief that you're not a priority. Yet instead of pulling away, you often try harder. This creates a cycle where your self-worth becomes tied to their attention. The less they give, the more valuable it feels when they give anything at all. One of the most painful aspects of chasing someone who doesn't choose you is how it distorts reality. You start minimizing your needs and normalizing emotional neglect. You tell yourself you're asking for too much, that they're just busy, confused, or scared. You become more understanding of their limitations than protective of your own emotional health. The truth is, people who want to be with you don't leave you guessing. They don't make you compete for basic consistency. They don't require you to shrink yourself to stay connected. When someone doesn't choose you, it's not a reflection of your value, but it is a reflection of their capacity, readiness, or willingness. Breaking free from this pattern requires more than willpower. It requires awareness. You have to start noticing not just how strongly you feel, but how the connection makes you feel over time. Anxiety, confusion, and emotional exhaustion are signals. They are your nervous system telling you that something is off. It also requires grieving the fantasy. Letting go doesn't just mean letting go of the person, it means letting go of the version of the relationship you hoped for. This grief can be deep, because it represents unfulfilled needs, unmet dreams, and the loss of hope. But staying stuck in longing prevents you from making space for real connection. Learning to stop chasing begins with choosing clarity over intensity. Intensity can feel like passion, but it often comes from instability. Calm consistency may feel unfamiliar at first, but it's where emotional safety lives. When you start valuing how someone shows up instead of how strongly you feel, your relationship patterns begin to change. Self-worth plays a critical role. The more you believe that you deserve mutual effort, respect, and emotional availability, the less appealing unavailable people become. You stop trying to earn love and start expecting it to be offered freely. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but every boundary you set reinforces it. Ultimately, chasing people who don't choose us is about seeking validation, familiarity, and emotional resolution. But real healing comes when you stop asking why they won't choose you and start asking why you're choosing emotional uncertainty over emotional safety. When you choose yourself, consistently and intentionally, the need to chase fades. And in that space, healthier love has room to find you.